Nomad Cosmetics just re-released their Haunted Europe palette, and I got it this weekend. I haven't even had it out of the box yet, so I'm going to unbox it with you, do some live swatches, swatch the whole palette, and do an eye look. If that sounds good to you, then let's get into it. The Haunted Europe palette was retired by Nomad, but they just re-released it in time for spooky season, along with their Ghost Town palette. I do also have the Ghost Town palette, and both of them have these really cool covers that change when you tip them. I think right now you are seeing the picture of the woman, and then when you tip it, it changes to something really creepy. And the Ghost Town palette also does that. You have a daylight western scene and a creepy ghost town nighttime scene. Both of these are currently available on the Nomad website for $49, or you can get the bundle for the discounted price of $98. So let's see what she looks like inside, shall we? I was going to bend this backwards, but it doesn't want to do that. So here are the shades, and I think this is really pretty for fall. You have these kind of pumpkin-y, orangey colors. You've got some deep greens. There's a few neutrals over here, but then there's also some jewel tones in here. And the embossing on these shades, you've got like a castle and spider webs. There's some bats. I'm not sure what everything is. Oh, this one has coffins. But anyways, so it's just really appropriate for going into October and Halloween season. And yes, it's a little bit early, but I see you out there with your pumpkin spice and your pumpkins on the porch. So it's not too early for a fall look. The one shade in here that I'm not exactly sure about getting use out of is this bright green. And I actually want to swatch that one. Okay, that's really pretty. I think I might be able to use that after all. So let's do a couple of live swatches of some shimmers. Here is that bright green, and it's not as intense as it looks in the palette. It's more of a topper. That shade, by the way, is Highgate Cemetery. I think I will do Catacombs. Looks like it's a shifty shade, and it's kind of a gunmetal, but there's also some purple and blue in there. I'm going to try and move my arm to see if you guys can see the shift. I can see it in my mirror. That's really pretty. And this purple is Big Bad Wolf. And that's a really deep, beautiful purple. Wow. Bloody Mary is a red with some gold reflex in it. I think the red is probably the one that will be the hardest for me to use in the palette, but there are some orange and browns in there that will anchor it. And so that, for me, will make it easier to make a wearable look, incorporating that red. So here are the shades. We have Mary King's Close, Huska Castle, Highgate Cemetery, Hola Bachu Forest, Ghost River, Bloody Mary. That's the first row. The second row, we have Boogeyman, Frankenstein, Grendel, and I forgot this when I swatched it, so I had to squeeze it in, Big Bad Wolf, and Krampus. Krampus. And on the last row, we have the Catacombs, Dragsholm Castle, Mary Cemetery, Black Forest, Bran Castle, and Spandau Citadel. A word of warning, these shadows are incredibly soft, and if you notice the gouge on this one, as I was going to move it, my finger slipped, and I stuck my fingernail into it, and ended up with a bunch of it under my fingernail, which I then pressed back into the pan. So they are the shimmers are very soft. And now for the fun part, putting it on my eyes. I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to do, but I have a fistful of clean brushes to do it with. So let's just play. I do have a rehearsal to go to, so if I get a little crazy, at least I'm going to the theater. I'm just going to scoot over a little bit and I'll put a picture of the palette up with the shade I'm going to be using circled so that I don't have to try to contort myself into a pretzel to show you what I'm doing. And I don't have any base makeup on because sometimes I can get a little fallout with Nomad, so I'll do my base after I get my eyes done. My eyes are primed with this Amazon eyeshadow primer, and I set it crease to brow bone with the Maybelline Fit Me setting powder. Ghost River looks like an excellent transition shade, so I'm going to start with that one. And these shades are pretty pigmented and a little bit powdery, so I am going to start with a tapping motion so that I can distribute the color before I start blending. And just going to put that in the crease and slightly above. And I don't have to be quite as particular as what happens out here because I can clean that up before I put on my base makeup if I need to. So I think I might take it out just a little bit further than I normally do because I have a feeling this look might get a little dramatic.
As a company, Nomad is clean, cruelty-free, and vegan. Each palette is designed on location based on the scenery and culture of that area, and each palette also supports a cause. The Haunted Europe palette tells the story of the dark fairy tales of Europe, and 5% of the sales are donated to the Bat Conservation International.
And you can see how quickly and easily that pigment applied to my eyes. I think I'm going to go green. Next, we're going to go into Grendel. That's that dark foresty green in the center. I have kind of a fluffy brush. I may regret this and want a more dense brush, but for now we're going to start with that. But I am going to tap off a lot of it onto my palette because it is a very deep shade. And I want to just kind of go in a little bit lighter to start with. And I might deepen it up with a denser brush just in the outer corner. This is a denser kind of domed brush, and I'm just using what's on my palette. I'm not even going back into the actual palette. I want to shape that outer V a little bit. I think I have my right eye a little bit deeper than the left, so I'm going to do a little fixing. I'll be right back. It's looking a little scary to me right now, but I'll go into Mary Cemetery. That's the green shimmer, the darker one, kind of the medium shimmer. Oh, so pretty. And I'm going to put that just on my lid. I didn't put any like glitter primer or anything like that on. It's kind of later in the day, so I don't need this to last all day. I might, if I were putting this on at 7 o'clock in the morning and having a 15-hour day, put some glitter primer on. But that is such a pretty green. I told you this was going to get dramatic in a hurry. Okay, I'm going to try Highgate Cemetery on that inner portion of the lid and see if we can brighten this up just a little bit. Yep, that does it. I want to keep this under the crease line because I do have more texture like up in here, and putting that shimmer up there just accentuates that. But if I keep it lower, it brightens up the inner corner without necessarily looking too textured in there. And then just for grins, I just tried it on this side. Wasn't sure if I was going to keep it, but I am going to put just a tiny little bit of Boogeyman right in the center, just to, again, lighten it up just a little bit, but keep it deep in the outer corners. I'm a little bit disappointed that Boogeyman and Huska Castle are so similar. I mean, okay, yeah, Boogeyman's a little bit deeper, but once it's on your eyes, I don't know that there's necessarily much difference that you're going to be able to tell in those. I would have rather have had a completely different, distinct shade than two shimmers that are so similar. I am going to put a little bit of setting spray on my palette and take a little bit more of that Grendel and mix it into the setting spray to make a green liner. And then I am just going to press that into the lash line. This is a great way if you don't have a liner to match your eye look and you want to kind of do a little monochromatic with it, that you can make that happen. Then makeup wipe and my finger, and I'm going to clean up that edge. I'm going to use that first brush with the transition shade and just blend out the top edge. Now I'm going to go do the rest of my face and I'll be right back. Okay, so obviously I don't have any mascara on yet because I want to do a little bit under the eye now that I have all of my makeup on. I will have everything listed and linked where possible down in the description box below. If the link is an affiliate link and you click on it and purchase through there, I do earn a small commission, and I thank you very much for shopping through my links. The only thing I really want to do is take a tiny little bit of that green on a sort of small pointed shader brush and just take a bit of it under to just connect what's happening under the eye here with what's happening out here. Just kind of fills that in, whereas over here it's a little bit more stark. Because I have these folds right here from my hooded eyes, I'm really not going to do a wing of any kind, but I can have just a slightly darker bottom edge to help define out that shape a little bit better. And if you have to move your skin and straighten it out in order for things to go the way you want, now that your skin isn't 20 and taut anymore, then you just do what you have to do. And all those people who say don't tug on your skin because it'll make it sag, it's already sagging, and sometimes you just have to lift it up and get in there. I am going to take this clean brush because I feel like my edges are a little harsh and just kind of soften them a little bit. On my lips, I have an LA Girl lip liner in Sugar and Spice, and I have the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip in Fig. Everything else, like I said, will be listed down below. I'm going to put some mascara on and come back and talk about my final thoughts on this palette. Okay, here is the finished look. And I think it turned out really pretty. I knew I was going to like the formula because I like the other Nomad palettes that I have. And this is a color story that, even though it's colorful, it's a little bit muted and grungy colorful, which is kind of where I like to be if I'm going to be wearing a more colorful look. There are Nomad palettes that I won't buy because they are too bright, too colorful, and too many shades, yellows, reds, that kind of thing, that I simply won't use. And I realized I just did a video about mistakes I made in makeup. This purchase was one that I put a lot of those lessons that I learned into practice. I gave it time to see if it was something I actually wanted. I looked at other things in my inventory to see if I have something like it, and there are enough shades in here that are different from what I have to make this a good addition to my inventory. And I also had a gift card from my birthday that I could use to put toward the purchase. I had been saving that gift card since my birthday in April for just the right thing that I wanted to spend it on. And this is what I decided was that right thing. Let me know down in the comments, do you own this one? Do you intend to pick it up? If you have Nomad palettes, which one is your favorite? I will put a link to my Ghost Town video here so you can see a look with that one if you're interested in that palette as well. I hope you have a beautiful, blessed day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.